For our next video, we'll start to look at components of fitness. There are two types. We've got physical components of fitness and skill components of fitness. The first lot, which are the physical components of fitness, are aerobic endurance, muscular strength, speed, flexibility, and body composition. It is very important that you remember the exact definitions for these components of fitness, because it does not change. You cannot make these up. You cannot deviate from the wording. Whether you're doing the PSA or the exam, the definitions stay the same. For the skill components of fitness, there are 5: power, agility, reaction time, balance, and coordination. Again, it is really important that these definitions are exactly the same as how they are stated from the spec. You cannot deviate from them. Likewise with the physical components of fitness, they have to stay the same whether we're doing the PSA or the exam. Components of fitness have examples, and the more examples that you can describe or explain, the more marks you would potentially be able to get. So with aerobic endurance, for example, anything that is lasting over 30 minutes is using aerobic endurance as a component of fitness. So a marathon run, for example, that is something that definitely takes over 30 minutes. Mo Farah. Muscular endurance, again, examples for that could be something such as the Tour de France. The Tour de France is a cycling event that goes on for definitely more than 30 minutes, and your quads, hamstrings, gastrocnemius, otherwise known as calves, are actually working repeatedly, contracting over that period of time. So muscular endurance is most definitely used within the Tour de France. Speed, some examples to support with speed would definitely be Usain Bolt in the 100 meters. Not at the start, that's acceleration. Something to do with the middle of that race is when he reaches his maximum capacity, and that is speed. Flexibility, so the range of motion at a joint. Okay, when is that tested? When is that used? Gymnastics. Okay, so when they are competing, when they're on the beam, when they're on the gym rings, these are all examples when flexibility is being used. Power. So when I'm talking about power, I have to make sure that I'm explaining the explosivity of that component of fitness. That is how you'll differentiate from another component of fitness. The explosivity being when I'm defending in basketball and I jump to block my opponent's shot. That is an example of when power is being used. Power can also be used in football. For example, Ronaldo's jump in football to head the ball is a great example of power in his legs. Agility. Examples of when this component is being used is in netball, so the change of direction and being able to mark my opponent, or when I'm in possession to lose my opponent. Reaction time. How quickly am I able to respond to a stimulus? An example of this being swimming. The start of a race in swimming, you'll be on the block, waiting for the bleep, whistle or buzzer, ready for you to start that race. Balance. An example of when balance is being used in sport or physical activity would be in tennis. After I've played a serve, I then got to rebalance myself so I'm ready to receive my opponent's shot. Gymnastics is a very good example, but again, you have to be versatile with the examples that you use and the sports that you know about, because the exam will not use everyday sports all the time. There will be some that aren't often played in schools or everyday state schools, so your examples need to be as versatile as possible. Coordination. Examples of when coordination are used in sports and examples that you can use would be hand-eye coordination for F1. So am I coordinated enough to use all pedals, steer and check where my opponents are and know where the corners are? That is coordination. Table tennis. Am I able to judge the flight of the ball, ready for the shot that I decide to use? So am I coordinated enough to perform those shots well enough within that sport? Body composition. So an example of body composition is if I'm a sumo wrestler, I am fit for my sport. I need to be heavy, I need to be strong. The fitness and body composition for a rugby player is very different. If I'm a back in rugby, not a forward, I need to be strong, muscular and quick. So my body composition will be very different to that of a sumo wrestler. If I'm a swimmer, my body composition is also very different. So the examples of body composition and weight ratios are very different depending on the sport being played.